Hey guys, I don't know how long this is going to be because I have the baby in here with me, but I am going to try and shoot a quick video. I had somebody ask me a question about the binding on this book, so I just wanted to show you how I'm repairing it and give you a little bit of rundown how I'm doing that. First of all, the spine is bound. I stitched that with a simple pamphlet stitch. I did not do any measuring because this is not a book that I measure for, but usually when all of the different signatures, these here are each a different signature. So there's 4. Typically you do measure it out so that your signatures end up even and you have, you know, your holes up here in a straight line and there's an even separation, and then your holes down here and in the middle are all in straight lines. But this was a whatever journal. I'm pretty proud that it came out as straight as it did. But now I'm just going through and repairing all of the mini signatures that I have inside. What I did was I stapled everything, which was a big mistake. I don't know what I was thinking because I'm usually the reinforcer, and I should have known that a simple staple was not going to hold heavy-duty magazine paper and heavy-duty cardstock. So I don't usually film my binding because I hate binding books. I yell and I swear and I get all sweaty and it's just a nightmare. But I did start in here, and so far it went pretty well. I started with this part here. This was my first one, so this was the test. I did leave the staples. You probably cannot see them because they're so little, but there are staples, and I just put my holes within a ½ inch probably of each staple. And then I just did this side too, but I have another one. Do I have another one on this side that I have to do? Yeah, I have another one over here. I just did this. So we're going to go ahead and do this small one here. Okay, if we could ever find the middle of it. Okay, so here is the middle. I usually have a cutting mat that I put underneath, but my cutting mat's in the other room. You can get those at like Dollar Tree. They're like just little cutting board, or one of those, you know, bendable cutting mats works out just fine. So if you want something behind where you're gonna poke holes. So I put this right on the edge. Okay. And this is a leather awl. It's a little more, it's a little duller than a paper awl, and it's a little wider, which I don't mind it being a little bit wider, but the dullness can be a little bit of a pain. So no matter what kind of awl you use, you need an awl. Here is my staple. It ends right here. So I'm using my judgment based on the space between the end of my page. So I'm just going to go right above the staple, go down, check my hole in the bottom here. It's not quite through. Alright, I got it through. You can also use a phone book behind this. You can use a regular book if you have a book that you don't need. I'm just using cardboard because I usually end up feeling my way through the back with my hand. So that's what I'm doing here. Alright, so there's my second hole. I don't want to be right on top of the staples. I don't usually use string and staples, but since the staples are already there, it doesn't hurt to just leave them there. Okay. Alright, so do this third hole if I can get it in there. It's a little difficult because I got some thick stuff. I have got some thick things to go through. Just paper is fine usually, and then a little thin book spine, but this is like, whew. No. No. No, we don't play with that. No. Sorry about that. My almost 1-year-old decided that that was the moment she was starving, and the only solution to that was eating already chewed gum off of the floor. And now she decides she wants to play with the only toy in the room that makes noise. So, turn the volume down on that sucker. And where were we? I punched my 3 holes, right? There are my 3 holes. My staples are still in. I take a needle that I apparently dropped in this tube of thread. Okay, let's see. I got it. And I pull it through. I have one of those little pullers somewhere. I had this all straightened out, I swear. This was organized earlier. But I have like 3 huge projects going on in here. So that's okay. I have another one. It will turn up. It will turn up. Okay, I use one of these things to save myself 100 years to pull my thread through. Okay. So. Is there a song about that? The splash out taking it back? Yeah, I'm making a video right now, honey, okay? Put that back in the drawer. Yank this. I never pull out enough thread, so I end up having to like pull it through my signatures. Okay. Alright, and what I do is... Woo, sorry, seasick. Because I'm recording a video, Lil. I need it turned down for a minute, okay? And I start going through the top hole on the inside. And I pull it through pretty far. Pull it through, because you're going to be using a lot of this. Right? And I go in through the middle hole. Okay. Pull it all through. Get it good and tight. And I'm going to move this behind here. Okay, so do a good amount of yanking down through the bottom hole. I don't know if this is like the exact way that people do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, but it works pretty well for me. So I go back up into the middle hole from the outside. Okay. And I go in here, yank that right through. Usually your thread does everything you don't want it to do. It typically gets hooked up on your corners of your book or anything you have on your desk, and you're spending most of your time. Ooh, I just lost my thread. I just lost my needle. The thread just came right out of my needle, so grab my little yanker again. I don't know what the technical term for this is. You know, something like this happens, your thread goes jumping out of your needle. It gets hooked on the corners of your pages. You have one big loop that didn't tighten in your signature, right? It's just always the way. Lil, quiet please for 1 minute. 2. Alright, I'm going to go back in through the middle. Down. Right? Oop, I'm looped. See, you get looped in yourself. You gotta yank it back out. Okay. Pull out your extra. Go back up through again. And that's usually where I end it. Okay. So I loop through everything twice except for this stretch here. Everything else is double loop-de-dooed. Okay. Now when you're binding a book, it's usually a good idea to be really tight with your signatures, but because this is something that's going to be expanding, I decided not to do it super duper tight. See, and I either end up with 400 yards of extra string, or I don't have enough to do the whole thing and I'm yanking string out. So, you know, it's just be prepared for the struggle that comes with binding. Okay? I just warn you. Right there. Alright, so take my extra. I'm going to find something to do with all that extra stuff. And I take my pieces, right? You tie them up. And I put my finger right there on that knot. And I am going to... She just loves children. Oh, it's just crazy all the time. Just all the time. Lillian, quiet please.
No, get away from me.
Alright. And just pull it like that. So, you know, I don't have to do the middle of this because
come out here. You're only going to get yourself in trouble.
Your
sister, how do you think they got you?
The middle of the signature,
Get away from me.
Right, is right here. This is the middle of the big signature, which is already sewn. So here's the beginning of my next signature, and I am, where am I? You know, there's like so many flips. You see, like the staples right there are pulling out. I'm just going to yank this one right out because that one is just going to hurt me someday. And this one is just going to be yanked out. Okay? Because that one is also just going to be one giant headache. And that one has already gone through. So, I have a tip of advice for you if you are making one of these junky style. If you have pages, like I have a couple of these, right, that these signature covers, this is very, very glossy. This here is too. Super duper glossy. Glue don't like gloss. I have not met a glue yet that's friendly with gloss. So you're going to want to sand this just a little bit. Just break the gloss just a touch, okay? And I'm going to just go through and finish fixing these so that I can glue some stuff in here for tonight's live stream. Let me show you what I have so far. I have, this is all of my medium to small pictures that I want to put in it. And this is all of my full page pictures. Look at all this goodness. Look at all this. I mean, some of these, you know, obviously I have to cut down, but this is just everything that is in a full page. Except for that stuff down there, which is excess from my color journal. That's also going to go in here. So look at all this. Oh. So we're going to be doing some gluing tonight, sisters. I hope to see you at 7:30. And I'm just going to go through and repair some more of my, do some more repairing on my signatures, and you know, hope for the best. So I will see you tonight. Ta-ta for now.